Good morning. It is day 123 of my YouTube orbit, and it is day 37 of 40 days. Actually, it's 47 days because it's a countdown to Thanksgiving of thankfulness. I am thankful for cell phones with cameras in them. So there's 3 days to the premiere of The Deathly Hallows Part 1. I'm going to give a shout out to a couple of my fellow muggles who are Harry Potter fans. Twish 1999, brand new fan, awesome. myblueart, my friend up there in the Northwest. mugglesam, and Ergo 6667. Yes, we are up to the Half-Blood Prince in my little countdown. I loved the Half-Blood Prince book. After I finished reading it, I think I felt like it was my favorite book. The first book will always be my favorite book because it was the first one and it was a new love at that point. But I just loved the book Half-Blood Prince. In the Half-Blood Prince, everything comes to this precipice. Is Snape good or evil? What exactly are all the Horcruxes? I loved it. Now the movie, probably the worst one of all 6 so far. Before I went to see the Half-Blood Prince film, I listened to all the books on CD and I watched all the movies up until that point. So right there, I should have known I was going to be disappointed. But even though I own the movie and I watch it now, it is still my least favorite of all the movies. I felt that it was very choppy. If you didn't know the book, I talked to people who didn't read the book and they said they were lost. And I know I went through this when it first came out. I probably said this in a video at that time, but they took things out that they could have left in instead of putting scenes that were not in the book in the movie. Like the whole attack on the burrow. For me, that made no sense. It didn't further the plot along. It just made no sense. So there were a lot of things about that movie that made me angry. And that was my very first midnight premiere, and I was really disappointed. And so was Bonnie. And then we went, like, I can't remember, a week later maybe, no more than a week later, to see it again, thinking, okay, now that, we've had a little distance. And we were, we still felt the same way. Having said all that, any Harry Potter movie is a good movie because you're going into that world. So, I think if that book, the last 3 books, but definitely the last 2 books, absolutely should have been made into 2 films each. That way, so much of Voldemort's background, his life, his family, where he came from, was left out of the movie. And all of that, for me, was really, really important. And they just glossed over that. That book should have been 2 movies. So, Ergo, you complained a little about this last movie being split into 2 movies. And I disagree with you 100%. I think number one, it's going to put off the end. I'm looking forward to this, but I'm not looking forward to the end of the Harry Potter movies. But also, I'm probably the most optimistic about this movie because making it into 2 parts, I feel that they're probably going to leave in as much as possible and it's going to stay truer to the book than the other movies have been. Oh, another thing that made me crazy about the Half-Blood Prince was at the end, I feel like I've kind of gotten to know Harry And I don't believe he would have just stayed down there. He didn't trust Snape. He never trusted Snape. Why would he have just stood there and watched this whole thing go down? So that kind of irritated me a lot. So there is my rant. I am off to an acupuncture appointment, and then I'm headed to bed. So I hope you all have a great day today, and peace.